This guy is just incredible. Shavkat Rakhmonov makes easy work of Neil Magny. I mean, there was like almost no challenge at all. He got hit by like one jab and stuff. And even off of that, he wanted to correct himself. He did punch back and connect on Magny, but he wanted to make sure that doesn't happen again. He edged Magny to throw another one, so he slipped on the outside and countered with another jab, and then carried on with what he was doing. He wanted to be perfect in this fight, and it was like he never even got out of first gear. Shavkat is a calculated fighter. He's always been that way, very calm and composed. But it honestly seemed like he didn't even try that much in this one. He could have done way more stuff to finish off Neil Magny or just make him way more dominant of a performance. But he said he gave respect to Neil Magny, that the guy's tough and stuff, so he had to go slower. I mean, I don't know how respectful it was to use Neil Magny as a target practicing dummy. It was crazy. Shavkat had knee on belly, and Magny barely even knew what to do about this. And I don't know if I've ever seen someone target practice with their opponent with ground and pound shots. He was stacking. He had knee on belly, posturing up, and just target practicing. Punching to the body, punching to the head, trying to punch around the guard and stuff. And Magny just looked helpless. Now, the thing about Neil Magny is he made it tougher on himself. I don't know why he came out throwing kicks, especially naked front and round kicks to the body, even though Shavkat was not in the opposite stance. He could try to injure the ribs like that, but he was asking to get taken to the ground. That is the one place he did not want to be, and that was under Shavkat. Shavkat has shown in all of his fights that he's taken opponents down, he just has a different kind of top pressure. It reminds me a lot of what like Luke Rockhold was like when he got on top of somebody. Shavkat is a big welterweight, but he seemed like a light heavyweight on top of Neil Magny, like a giant. Magny must have felt like that guy wasn't even in the same weight class. Magny's only big solution to neutralize the action and maybe even try to catch a submission was going for the leg. He kept going for that heel hook, and it did succeed in not allowing Shavkat to get into the range to land ground and pound shots. But if you look at Shavkat in that whole sequence, he didn't have a care in the world. It reminded me of when Bigfoot fought Fedor Emelianenko. He was just sitting there watching the show. Even his takedown was so effortless. Magny kind of gave that one up too, where it seemed like he tried to trip out Shavkat while his back is on the cage, but Shavkat had good shoulder pressure and just simply turned Magny the other way and they fell. Even the guillotine sequence, Shavkat threatened it first, gave it up as he didn't see the opening for it, then Magny dug his head even more into Shavkat's hips, exposing his neck as he dug in a left underhook, and then Shavkat's like, okay, is this guy serious? Snatched on the guillotine and it was over. The amount of confidence this guy has to pull a guillotine and get on his back is actually kind of astonishing. He did the same thing to Alex Oliveira. You don't see many of those kind of guillotine attempts anymore. You don't see a lot of guys pulling guard and submitting someone with a guillotine. A lot of fighters have found a way to defend this, or at least survive long enough. With Shavkat, he's pulling these off like a boa constrictor. There's no way out of it. So man, it's an amazing win for Shavkat. There isn't that many technical things to analyze about this besides a general domination of just posturing, ground and pound shots, a few flow transitions from Shavkat, but just turned out to be a clear mismatch. And more people are now finally starting to realize how special this guy might be. Shavkat Rakhmonov called out Wonderboy. I'm not gonna lie, if I'm in Wonderboy's corner, I'm telling Wonderboy, ignore that this guy even exists. It is a bad stylistic matchup for him. He does not want to go to the ground with Shavkat, who is much bigger than he is. He has the wrestling to take Wonderboy down, where it seems like his takedown defense has greatly diminished over the years. I mean, I would personally like to see Shavkat fight someone in the top 7, but perhaps he should call out Bilal Muhammad. Because Bilal Muhammad's number 5 and he's not fighting anybody. That would be the best case scenario for Shavkat, who's probably going to be in the top 10 now. But I can definitely see where Bilal does not want to fight him. So maybe creeping up the division slowly, not how Hamza did, is Shavkat's best way of finding opponents. But I know one thing for sure, if he really wants to test himself and go up against someone who is willing to fight anybody, call out Gilbert Burns. I think Burns would for sure take the fight, just like he took a fight against Hamza. He will take a fight against Shavkat. Not the same kind of exposure or anything like that, but Burns says it all the time. He doesn't turn down anybody. And it's almost the same exact rise in the rankings that Hamza had. If Shavkat goes out there and let's say he beats Gilbert Burns handily, opinions about this guy and what he can do in this division will completely change. And honestly speaking, Shavkat might have a better style against Burns than Hamza did. Does that mean that he would beat Burns? I don't know, because Shavkat doesn't really move his head too much, and I don't know if he has Hamza's chin. I mean, he's been dropped before years ago, but he is a lot sharper of a striker than Hamza. So perhaps he can make it not as competitive when it comes to the stand-up, and I don't see Burns taking Shavkat to the ground at all. So there's some interesting options for Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm very curious to see what he does from here on out. And leave in the comments below, what do you guys think about this guy's ceiling? Do you see him as a future champion? Do you want to see him fight a top 5 opponent or someone like Wonderboy? And I'm still waiting on that collision between Hamza and Shavkat. I cannot wait for that fight to happen.